Welcome to another Encounters episode. Today, we take a look at the William Roe Story. The William Roe Story. How different the history of Bigfoot would be if William Roe had only owned or borrowed a movie camera back in 1955. Roe was working on a highway near the small town of Tete Jaune Cache in British Columbia, about 80 miles west of Jasper, Alberta. In October, he decided to climb 5 miles up Mica Mountain to where an old abandoned mine was located. He reached the mine around 3 p.m. after an easy climb. Coming out of some brush into a clearing, he was surprised to see what he took for a grizzly bear on the other side of the clearing. Roe decided not to shoot it, stepped back into the brush and settled down to watch the bear. He could see the top of the creature's head and a furry shoulder. Then suddenly it moved into the clearing and stood up. His first thought was, "This is not a bear." Briefly he considered that it had to be a man in a fur coat. But no, it had to be a man in a gorilla suit, and a movie was being filmed, even though he had not heard of any movie being filmed in the area. As the creature began to move across the clearing towards him, he realized this was no man. It was at least 6 foot tall, 3 foot wide, and looked to be around 300 pounds. It was covered from head to foot in dark brown, silver-tipped hair. As it came closer, he realized that it was actually a female, having breasts. Its torso was not curved like a human female. She had a broad frame straight from shoulder to hip. Thicker than a man's, her arms hung down around her knees. Her feet were broader than a man's and tapered at the heel. She walked heel down first, which allowed Roe to see the bottom of her feet. The soles of her feet were a gray-brown color. She reached the edge of the clearing, about 20 feet from where Roe crouched in hiding. Squatting down, she reached out, holding the branches, and started stripping the leaves from the bushes with her teeth. Her lips were flexible, curling around the leaves as she ate. She had white and even teeth. The nose was broad and flat. The mouth and chin protruded further than the nose. Her face was hair-covered, with just the area around the eyes, mouth and nose clear. Her ears were much the same shape as a human's, her eyes small and black, more like a bear's. Her neck was shorter and thicker than a man's. After a couple of minutes, the creature seemed to catch Roe's scent. She looked directly at him through the brush. Still squatted down, she backed up 3 or 4 steps, then stood up. Walking back rapidly towards where she had entered the clearing, she watched him over her shoulder. She didn't appear to be frightened of him, only cautious. For a moment, he realized that if he was able to shoot this creature, scientists over the world would be anxious to see the body. He raised his rifle and took aim. She was still walking quickly away from him. She turned her head to give him one last look. Roe lowered his rifle. At this moment, he felt she was human and he would never forgive himself if he shot and killed her. When the creature reached the other side of the brush, she threw back her head and gave a cry that seemed to be a half laugh, half language, a kind of whinny sound. Then she walked into a stand of lodgepole pine. Roe stepped out into the clearing to try to get another look at her. She came out onto a ridge about 200 yards away. Once again she tipped her head back and gave the half laugh, half language cry. She then disappeared into the brush and trees. William Roe never saw the creature again. Still curious, Roe decided to search for clues about the creature. He found scat in 5 places and examined it. He could find no hair or shells of bugs or insects. He believed the creature to be strictly vegetarian. He discovered a place where he thought it had slept under a tree. He found no sign of use of fire or even simple tools. He also found no sign of a companion or mate. Later he added more details in a letter to John Green. Roe said the nails were more like a man's, short and heavy, not at all like bear claws. There were no bulging muscles, but the creature was built large. He revised his original estimates and decided the creature had to be 7 foot tall and close to 500 pounds. It was massively built with extremely long and heavy arms, huge thighs and breasts, with little indication of buttocks. It had a short neck, low head, very long from front to back. The jaws projected beyond the small nose, with a thin lower lip that stuck out further. For lack of a camera, we have only William Roe's account. A story of an encounter from a man considered by his peers to be an unimpeachable witness, trustworthy and reliable. Roe, an accomplished woodsman and hunter and trapper, had been familiar with North American wildlife all his life. He would not have misidentified a bear. For lack of a movie camera, we have no William Roe footage to pave the way for the Patterson film. We have no 1-2 punch in evidence for the existence of this marvelous creature. Footage from an era where gorilla suits were clumsy and ill-made, where special effects were limited and most times hokey, and where not many knew of the creature and had little desire to hoax a sighting. This report presented by Crypto Crew team member Nancy Marietta. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notifications bell. Find more reports and our sightings map at thecryptocrew.com. If you have had a sighting or encounter, then please contact us via our website. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.